on this call tonight is that you have got to get good. If nothing more, I don't care if you don't know anything about the software. If you get nothing more but get good at, number one, inviting people onto a Zoom call, that's first. But secondly, is proper follow-up and follow-through. If you get really good at that, you can write your own ticket in the next several years, guaranteed. That's the bottom line. And I was short in doing that when I was in my first business back in the day, and my sponsor, and I see Janice Miller's on the phone with me here on our call. Hi, Janice. Her and I go back many years, and we were mentored by a guy named Bob Schmidt, who was one of the world's top networkers at that time. And he even illustrated to me that the first 7 years with his business, this was the Amway business back then, he was running from mad to frustrated all the time. Couldn't figure out why people didn't do what they wanted, what they were supposed to do, he thought. And he finally figured out that he wasn't doing proper follow-up and follow-through, which was my problem back in the day. So I had a hard time building and making any money. And then I got to understand the power of the resources of people that we align ourselves with. Okay, we'll talk about that in a while here. That follow-up and follow-through is critical. And if you're gonna put your time and energy into this business called Avoria Prime, you guys have got to get good at follow-up and follow-through. And I hope you're working off a calendar, number one, okay? Calendar, this is my calendar right here. And everything in yellow are Zoom calls I'm doing, right? So if you're not basically identifying on a calendar where you're putting your time and effort, then you're missing the boat, period. You've got to work off a calendar, number one. And then I'll probably take you back to Teamsy and show you kind of what I do as far as follow-up and follow-through. But I have some examples of people that I'm working with, some ladies and gentlemen that I'm working with on my teams right now that I want to illustrate to give you an example of proper follow-up and follow-through and the importance of it. And they come from different backgrounds. So do we have Brianna? Brianna, are you on the call right now? Can you hear me? Can you unmute yourself? Is Brianna on the phone? Maybe not. Hello. Brianna, are you on? No? Okay, that's okay. Well, Brianna is a lady that I'm working with. She might be working right now. But as an example, let me give you an example. I'm going to give you 4 illustrations here to understand what we're doing here and why it's so important. So Brianna's on my, looks like on my maybe 5th level, 6th level in one of my teams here. She's only 22 years old. She's a hairdresser. Some of you that were on a call a few weeks back, I did a little training and she was on it, and I was kind of sharing on how to call up people, invite them into getting on a Zoom call with me. So if you can see what I got on the paper here, you'll see that Brianna's there, and she's got 3 people that she actually has prospected through LinkedIn, which is where she's getting her resources from. And then I taught her exactly what to say on calling back to these people with me on the phone. And so she's done well with that. And at this point right now, we've got 3 really good people. 2 of them are brokers, okay? And they're probably late 40s or early 50s. And so what I did was I trained her on how to call them up and bring me on the phone with them. And then I basically have about 2 minutes, introduce myself as her business partner. And I just kind of give my 2-minute little spiel of what we're doing, and then invite them onto a Zoom call, okay? And that's the second step. Well, the reason I'm sharing this is that here's a 22-year-old who's had no experience in network marketing, has never built anything in this industry, a hairdresser, and also works at the Olive Garden restaurant as a part-time job. So she's ambitious, so she's hungry, which is awesome, and she's coachable as well. But just remember this, we'll probably come back and do another training in a few months from now on this subject. And I guarantee you we're going to have at least 3 or 4 people underneath there just by virtue of proper follow-up and follow-through. One of the guys she introduced to me this morning was a guy named Steven. He's out in New York, in Manhattan. And this guy understands Forex, and we had a nice little chit chat. And so he wants to follow up with a Zoom call on September 11th at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So I shared with Brianna, put that in your calendar. We're going to go ahead. I've set it up on my calendar already, even though it's a few months out. You have to understand that some things good things take time, which I'm going to illustrate that further here on how this all unfolds here. But unfortunately, most of the people that come into this business called Laboria Prime and other businesses like this seem that they just kind of get discouraged and sidelined because perhaps the person they're introducing the business to isn't quite ready right now, right? They're not ready to jump on board and get their software started and move forward. So people get discouraged about that. And I don't know why they would, because, you know, this is not a race. This is basically the turtle in the race. It's for the long term here. And the more people that you associate with and get them on Zoom calls, you're going to find out that not everybody's ready to jump on board today. Timing's important for everybody. We don't know about their background or who we're talking to. In most cases, most of the people we know are inviting in on this. We don't know much about who they are. They might be going through divorce. They might have some challenges at home. They might be, because of COVID-19, might be out of a job, looking for other ways to make money. There's a million reasons out there why the timing might not be right today. However, with patience, okay, and proper follow-up and follow-through, if you're doing it correctly, eventually we'll get most of these people in the pipeline, which I'm going to illustrate in a moment here. So with Brianna here, here's a 22-year-old, and I've got 2 real estate brokers and 1 sharp guy who understands Forex and is in the financial market in New York, in Manhattan, and is very excited about our AI software, but he's got a couple other projects right now. And he said, he was a really nice guy. He said, hey, Al, this sounds really good. Can we come together on that Zoom call September 11th? Because that's the next opportunity that I have. Then I'll be done. And then I'll be open-minded to really, if I see this as value, then I'm going to jump in and I'm going to make this happen. I said, great. So, you know, I put in my calendar, and then I follow up with an email. Now, let me show you the email, because, you know, a lot of you probably are out there sharing the business model, which is fine. And if they're not ready today, perhaps you just blow them off and say, well, okay, I'll just wait and drip on them. Well, how you drip on people is very important too. So let me share my screen real quick. I'm going to take you to an email and just kind of illustrate on what I'm doing as a follow-up and follow-through. And it's working for me, and I'm sure it'll work for all of you. Okay, as an example, let me just kind of share with you what I've got here. Okay, sent. So this particular one was sent out this morning at 11:31 a.m. This is after my conversation with a guy named Steve. And again, our next appointment for a Zoom call will be 1 o'clock in the afternoon on September 11th. So here's what I sent out, and then I copied Brianna on it, as you can see here. So she has a copy of this email. It was a pleasure to talk with you on our call this afternoon. As of now, Laboria Prime is about 12 weeks old. Well, actually, they're almost 16 weeks old now. I forgot, but that's okay. With a happy customer base of 9,000 plus around the world. Keep in mind that this AI software has been around since 2014, but has been enhanced to a new version called Alexander. So he wanted to know how long the software's been around and where Alexander came from. So I kind of went through that with him. I want to remind him here about that. Please review the TradeWise results link, which of course our community TradeWise, which was developed by our global leaders, Ryan and Jolene, and some other people have put together, which is amazing. But please review the TradeWise results link, showing hundreds of results from people with no Forex understanding, and our 14-minute presentation, which is eloquently done by the one and only Alan Delaney. So I send that 14-minute overview. You can contact me anytime. I'm available Monday through Sunday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I look forward to our Zoom call September 11th at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so then I just, again, you can read this as I'm following along. This is our website, laboria.com. Please tap on the About at the top and scroll down to have a look at the company and cores and values, along with our professional team with a combined 70 plus years of business and entrepreneurship. Okay, just an overview of who we are. And then I say this is Telegram sharing recent performance from many of our team members. We have thousands of people with zero experience of Forex who are getting positive results subscribing to our software. No time, just only profit if you follow our guidelines. And then he can tap onto here, and that's it. Okay, so that was what went out as an example. And again, you guys can, hopefully you have a way to follow up, and perhaps an email, which is very important. You have to drip on people with the right information. Okay. Let me share another one here that I did this morning. I just did a Zoom call about an hour and a half ago with one of my key guys named James Jenkins. James, are you available? Can you unmute yourself? James, are
Yeah.
you? Yes,
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Hey, great. That was a nice call this afternoon about an hour and a half ago, right? Did that work out pretty well?
Yeah, it did. He's got a few people on right now, as a matter of fact.
Oh, he's already on tonight. Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
excellent. Okay, so let me show people on how we're following up with James. Now, James is one of my key guys. He's on my 6th level, one of my teams here. And I'm working with James, and he's bringing to the table more and more people. Okay, so we set up a Zoom call this afternoon, and that was at 4:30. And we were in and out within about 45 minutes. And can you introduce your new person that came on our Zoom call, please?
well, the person that came on is Clifford Jarrett. I believe he's got a friend of his on this call now.
Hey, Clifford.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, great. Hey, we can talk now. How about that? It's working.
Awesome.
So Clifford, I mean, we were just introduced about a couple hours ago, and we did a Zoom call. I just met you, and I went through my presentation, and at the end, you seemed like you were pretty excited, right? And
yes,
then
yeah.
I followed up with an email. Let me ask you something. Just after we got off the Zoom call, what was your first impression?
Oh, my first impression that the call was very professional. That's what really stood out. I enjoyed it. It didn't have a lot of pomp and circumstance, not a lot of hoopla. It was direct. It went through the system, the process systematically. It was clear and concise. It was very easy to understand.
Very good. Well, thank you, and thanks for attending. I'm looking forward to working with you. And then at the end of my presentation, Clifford, if you recall, I asked the following. I said, "Hey, Clifford, there's 3 components to our business model. The first is, as we illustrated, is to join up and basically become a retail customer, right, using the software.
Correct.
The second component would be that of, if you have an interest, I'll work with you and do Zoom calls for you on your behalf with people you may want to share this with, which I think you have 1 or 2 people on tonight, right?"
Yes, I have a colleague, Dr. Bob Lemon. We call him Dr. Bob.
Dr. Bob, hey, thank you for joining. And this is actually a training, but you're going to get trained, and we'll come back with a Zoom call for you and show you more specifics. But thanks for joining tonight. So anyway, the second component, Clifford, was that we talked about in terms of, if you have an interest, I'll help you do some Zoom calls so we can show you how to get your software for free before that 189 rolls around in 30 days, right?
Correct.
And then the third, I said, this is not for everybody, Clifford, but if there's an interest, I need to kind of share it. There's a third component, which is the relationship or network marketing component, which there's about 87% of our company are just customers, and we love our customers because we need customers. But the other 13, 14% are people like me and my upline, Ryan and Jolene and others here that are listening, that are builders and want to build a team. And I just kind of mentioned that lightly. And what was your response to that?
Oh, that was great. That was great because it wasn't the majority of the call. I was more interested in the software, but I am a marketer myself, and I do understand the benefit of residual income. But it wasn't high pressure. It wasn't hurry up and sign up today. Let's get you going. It was very, very casual, and I really appreciated that.
Excellent. Well, hey, thank you for jumping on tonight. I wasn't expecting you to be on the training night. And thank you, Dr. Bob, whoever you may be. I'm looking forward to meeting up with you on the Zoom call. And as you know, we'll do Zoom calls on your behalf and get you started the right way here. But thank you for participating. And James, good job on that. Now, what I want to do is illustrate, show the people here listening an example of an email that I sent out right after that call. So let me show you my email that I followed up with. To give you an example, once again, it's proper follow-up and follow-through. So I'm going to go back in here. And here we go. So now this was different. This email was different because he'd already seen a Zoom call, okay, where the previous person under Brianna was only a phone call, but this was he saw the full presentation. I sent him the Visionary 600 structure, which this is what this looks like, just to kind of give him an idea of what it looks like on how to make an extra 7,800 a year with only 12 people, right? Then, let me see here what I do here. Let me go back here. Oops. Okay. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm not very savvy when it comes to computers. Let me open this back up again, sorry. Okay. Hang on.
Hey Al, I'm on, just letting you know I had a family situation not too long ago, so I came on a little bit late.
Oh, hi, Brianna. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing today?
Everything okay with your family, I hope?
Yeah, everything's fine. It was a little misunderstanding,
okay.
but everything's good now.
Oh, okay. Well, I've pretty much talked about what we did with Stephen this morning and how we're following through with him on September 11th coming up, right? And you're doing
Yes.
outstanding. And I know you're following up with Alexander and Assad, and you've got others out there. So you're doing exactly what we should be doing, is treating people professionally and doing the proper follow through, right?
Yes.
So great job on that. We're really proud of you. So thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
on. Yeah, of course. So I'll finish off here, folks, with this particular email. This is a little different. So here's what this one went to. This went to Clifford, and I copied, of course, James here, who introduced me to him, right? So again, people, treat this professionally, okay? This is a profession. Don't shortchange people or yourself, because you will not be able to use your potential over time. So look at this. I said on this particular email, Clifford, it was a pleasure to meet you today on our Zoom call. I generally send this out, I generally send out this type of email to those who wish to build. Now, he already illustrated he had an interest with that. That's why I did this. I try to get the new person to think about who they know that could be a good fit for our program. I'm happy to plan out a roadmap to first get your software for free, then get you to Visionary 600 within the first 30 to 60 days, which we'll do that probably within 30 days. I have included the structures V600 along with some examples on how to approach friends and invite them onto a Zoom call, which I have here. So then this is intended for him to open up and think about people he knows. Who's the most ambitious person? Who needs a tax break? Who loves people? Who do you know that has connections? Who's business minded? And the $10,000 question is this: if you were to bet 10,000 on any 5 people you know that could do well with this, who would they be? I want them to start thinking about that. Select your top 5 and let's invite them on a Zoom call ASAP. Anytime someone says there's an interest to know more, immediately set up the appointment that works for their schedule. Then text or call me. I'll confirm with that appointment. I have sent some approaches to use, which I've illustrated earlier. Follow my instructions and we will build you a solid residual income. It's all about helping people. Call me anytime for any questions. I work for you, which is totally true. I'm here to work for you. You guys got to understand, when you invite someone into the business, whether it's personal or you're working down group like I am now, take the responsibility and treat this professionally, okay? And people will gravitate to you. They know that you mean business, that you're on top of your game. It's very important. Treat people with respect and do the right thing. So I've illustrated the rewards program here. I wanted to go through that on his leisure. And I said, here's the company presentation overview. This is done by Alan Delaney, where he does a superb job here. This will be updated soon. I say this: do not send this out to prospects yet. I don't want them to get sending this out just randomly to people. I want to control how they're going to build their business, because we know the proper way to do this. So I put that in red, okay? Then I said, Clifford, if you remember, I said, hey, I hope you don't blame me for if you don't sleep well at night, because after looking at that calculator, I know you kind of really got all excited, which excites everybody, the potential, what we have here. So I said, here are these recent results of our Alexander software program. Of course, this is the TradeWise results. We talked about that on our call. And then the weekly compound calculator, have fun with this. Respectfully, Al Franklin, see? So then now I've got this communication now with Clifford now. Now my attention is going to be with Clifford and his new person, Dr. Bob. That'll be my next person that I want to take and hold by the hand and walk them through the proper procedure here. So hopefully you guys get a feel of what we're doing here. So now I'm going to bring on now a good friend of mine I've known for a long time. And so talking about follow-up and follow-through is very important, as we talked about earlier. I want to introduce you to Janice Miller. Her and I go back many, many years in the industry. She's hit at the top of her profession, the diamond level twice with 2 other companies. She's always been with a product-driven business like me, only health products, okay? She's got a beautiful home in Las Vegas. She used to live in Southern California, and she's pretty much retired. She doesn't really need the money right now, but I called her out on this when we started 3.5 months ago, and I told her about what we had a hold of, and she kind of checked it out, and she says, okay, Al, this sounds pretty good. I do have some money. I like to have my money work for me, okay? Now, this is kind of interesting here. So she came on board, and let me take you to, I'm going to show you something that she actually sent me. She's going to laugh about this, but let me just find it. Hang on, folks. Okay, here it is. So she got involved on day 1, okay? She's actually on my 1, 2, 3, 4th level, okay, in one of my organizations. And here's the problem. I didn't really, at that time, we were bringing people in. We were excited, all that. And Ryan, Dr. Check, and Alan Delaney were doing, I think, weekly or bi-weekly calls on basically software and understanding pips and margins and all this kind of thing. And I was sending Janice to all this stuff, not thinking this out properly. So here I am sending Janice, who knows nothing about Forex, just got her software, wasn't even set up with her account yet, but I'm sending her to these webinars to learn about pips and all this stuff. It was over her head. So here's, Janice, you remember this text? I have it right here. This is back in April 17th. Here's what she said to me.
Uh-oh.
Hello, Al. I am sorry to report to you that I am going to cancel. I have no idea how to use the system and earn money. I don't think that this has been a good fit for me. I am sorry to say that it has been added stress, which certainly is not needed at this time. Thank you, Janice. And I read that and I thought, oh my gosh, I feel so horrible. I didn't do my job. I actually didn't take her by the hand and walk her through the process. So that was on me. So I felt bad about that. Immediately I texted her back. I called her back. We had a chit chat, right, Janice? And I apologized that I had sent you to these webinars, which was way over your head because you didn't know anything about what was going on. You want to elaborate a little bit about that, how that went? Because I know that it was just driving you crazy. And you were attending every single one for weeks and weeks, and you were getting totally lost.
Yes.
Would you elaborate, please?
Yes, I definitely agree on that. And I still have to admit that I still get a little lost, even though I understand the technology and the terms now, which is taking me all this time. But yeah, I thought, what am I doing here? I came in because of Al, relationship marketing. And Al and I go back like 30 years, and I don't want to date our, but that's how many years we know
we were about 15 when we met, exactly.
Yeah, right. Thank you for that. Yes, and but the long scheme of the story is that I did not know what I was doing, but actually I really love money, and money loves me, because we learned that from Bob Proctor back in the day. And so with that said, I wanted to have my money earn money. So I have diversified. My husband and I diversified many, many different ways, but the intrigue was for me to be able to take the money and earn money, but also because I am a networker and I have been in the industry for 30 years, I figured I could probably tap on a few people that I know, and they may feel the same way I did, because their money's sitting somewhere not making any money too. So henceforth, I'll let you continue.
Hey, well, thanks for sharing and thanks for getting on tonight. I know it's dinner time for you and your husband. I appreciate that. And she's a
Sure.
fabulous cook, I understand. So, and so I know this is the dinner hour for you, but I appreciate you getting on the phone and sharing that. So
My
the
pleasure.
purpose of this call, Janice, again, is follow up and follow through. And you and I know we've been in the industry long enough to know that if you don't have proper follow up and follow through with people, you're not going to make it. Period. It's going to be very, very difficult unless you find someone that has the tenacity and the motivation to do it on their own, which is not normally doesn't happen, right? Would you agree?
Absolutely. That's where we learn from the same mentor.
Mhm.
The gold is in the follow-up.
That's
The
right. Thank
gold
you.
is in the follow-up. And I remember back when even Bob, our mentor, wasn't the best in following up. And he would leave a lot of people there. And that's when he married his second wife to help him follow up. Or was it number 3 wife? I don't remember. But yeah, it was the third one. Yes. And she was amazing with the follow-up. And yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So Janice, here's Janice back in April. Okay, she's on my 3rd level. This goes back 11 weeks, folks. She was going to quit. Okay, but we kind of talked it out. I said, let's back up a while. You don't have to know all that stuff. You got to learn how to press the button, of course. And now she's come along here and she's got a group now. If you can see this, here's her group right now. Okay, and she was able to bring on some people over here that are actually 6- and 7-figure income earners. And we have another gentleman over here coming in very shortly here in the next week, Jason Barreco, of course, and he owned his own network marketing company. He's a big guy in the scheme of things, and Jason and you and I go back many, many years, but that would have never happened if I would have just let you go and didn't do the proper follow-up and came back to you and apologized. And now, Janice, let's not worry about that. Let's move forward, right? So are you okay now? You happy now?
I am happy. I choose to be happy every day. So,
Excellent.
and I'm getting happier in the moment. Yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming on and sharing, because this is important to, especially a lot of new people here, you know. So I appreciate that, Janice. Thank you. So
Well,
the last illustration I want to show is this one here. I'm working with a key guy named Jim Webb, and Jim and I were in a network marketing company called Zango many years ago, and we both did quite well on that one. In fact, Jim made about almost $4 million in that network marketing company. Jim is 80 years old. I've known him a long time. He was in, I was in his downline under Bob Schmidt, his first guy, one of his key guys. And when Jim came on board with me initially, Jim made a comment. He said, Al, you know, I'm 80 years old. I've got some health issues. I need you to follow up and follow through and help you. I'm going to go ahead and email you a list of people I want you to call, which I did. And I've got a bunch of people in here and who they are and so forth. So this is printed out back almost 4 months ago when we started. And so one of the people that he wanted me to call on is a guy named Chris Lamont, who I've never heard of before. And I don't think Chris was able to make it on the phone here. He's in another network marketing company with a health product and does very, very well with that. So I initiated a call back in November 8th, folks. November 8th was my first call back to him because I was with another company at the time sharing a software program. And it's taken from November, I have illustrated here, it's kind of rough draft, but they're all here, about 23 calls back and forth with him. I'd call him up, he'd say, Al, call me tomorrow, hang up on me. Okay, so I call him back, and again, proper follow-up and follow through, okay? There'd be times where I'd call him, said, Al, I can't talk to you now, call me next week, boom, hang up on me, okay. And I got thick skin, and so I always say, well, I'm gonna beat him to it. I'm gonna get him in eventually. And Ryan and Julian know the story here. I used to laugh about this. And he would treat me with no respect because he didn't have to respect me because he didn't know me from Adam. I just cold called him off the list that was given to me by Jim. And, but I just followed through with him. And then he started to listen. We did a couple Zoom calls with some guys that he wanted to share our platform with. So I did that the best I could. And incidentally, I learned all this with Ryan. Ryan Dr. Check taught me how to do these Zoom calls, so I just followed him. And so long of the short, here's the bottom line here is that over the 22 or 23 calls, which included some Zoom calls, he started looking at other companies, okay? And he wanted me to check out this company, check out this company. Hey, Al, what about this company? So he's throwing all this stuff at me, which educated me because that meant that I had to go and find out a little bit more about the competitors, even though we really don't have a competitor for what we have. But let's assume we do. So I come back with him and show him the difference. And I brought on Ryan, Dr. Check, with maybe, I don't know how many times I brought in Ryan in the mix too. So Ryan and I were doing our best to kind of just share what we have here. And so over time, he finally came on board, okay? And he's very excited about his results now. In fact, he's gonna go live with his account next week. But here's what's transacted in that period of time since he's been in, which has been about a month and a half. He basically was able to get his software for free, and this is his organization right now, okay? So again, here's a guy that really ignored me back in November, okay? But again, follow up, follow through, and you treat people with respect. And if you say you're gonna do something, you do it. Because he tell me, call me back Sunday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I put in my calendar, 4 o'clock, call Chris Lamont, boom. I call him right on the dime, right on the money. I didn't miss a beat. And so he actually shared this morning with me because we're calling each other every day now because I'm working with a lot of his team members. But the point is this, he said, Al, the reason I like working with you is because you're always on it. You're always on it. When you tell someone you can do something, you do it. You don't BS around. I like that. I need that. Now here's a guy, a 7-figure income earner, by the way. He's doing extremely well with another company. He really doesn't need this. But all he did was initially was wanting to come on board and use our software because he saw value in our Alexander software. And a lot of the other stuff out there is junk. It just is. They don't have compliance. They don't have a Steve Betterall, a chief market analyst. We've got all the ingredients, all the structure for a solid company with a solid product. So he saw that. So he says, initially, I just want to use a product, Al. I'm not going to build it though, because I got my own thing going. I said, fine, no problem. I went ahead and bought into that. And I said, well, what about getting your software for free, saving yourself $170 and you can, just pay the $19 a month for, yeah, I can throw 3 people at you. Let's do that. So I started doing Zoom calls for him, and we brought in his first 3 within the first month. Actually, we brought in 4 people, and now he's almost in the Borean 600. I just talked to him last night. I said, you realize you only need 2 more people in this group here and 2 more people in here, which we'll probably do in the next week here. Because I just did a Zoom call for this gentleman last night. He's actually got his software set up this morning. He's already got people he wants to turn this on to. But the point is that he'll probably go a Borean 600 within the next week or so, maybe 2 weeks it'll take us. All we need are 4 people, and he's there. And I told him this morning, I said, Chris, do you realize that you're almost the Borean, you're going to be making an extra $600 a month just off the legacy? He said, oh, that's strong, yeah. Well, I got a ton more guys coming in, Al. So let me show you my board here. These are the other people that we're following up and following through with right here, that I'm working with right here. These are just a portion right here. Again, you take control of your business, folks. And if you don't feel confident yourself, you go up to your upline. Whoever your upline is, there's someone up above you. It could be Alan Delaney, Herlin Lawless, or Dr. Checks, or whoever. There's someone at the 1,500 level or 3,000 level or whatever, our global director. If you don't feel confident in sharing what following through like I'm sharing tonight, go upline and get help from someone. They're there to help you, okay? So imagine, here's a guy from November. It took 6 months, 7 months practically it's gonna be, for him to bite into this, and now he wants to build it. And I said, Al, I can see myself building this, and now I got a ton of guys. Now he's bringing in a lot of people because he recognizes that a lot of the people that he's talking to don't really want to do his deal. They don't want to be involved with another product company that he has, okay? They want to do something different, but he's bringing to the table some key people here, really sharp people. So just to illustrate the following, that never give up on people. That's the bottom line here, folks. If you treat people professionally, follow up, follow through. Every single one of these people I've done Zoom calls with, I followed with email, copied him on it as well. And so Chris and I are on the same page. He knows exactly where we stand with each of the people and the other people that we're working with right now. So it may sound like a lot of work, but let me ask you this. Why not? Why not do it the right way? You can go ahead and continue working with your job right now and, you know, and make the income you're earning, that's fine. But why not build a team, okay, and utilize our upline, utilize TradeWise, our community here, to assist you in the proper follow-up, follow-through. We have all the tools here, folks. And I'm going to take advantage of all the tools and everybody I can to build, because that's where we're all here. Not to take advantage of people, but to take advantage of the system, which Ryan and Julian have put in place, called TradeWise. That's a system. Within TradeWise is a whole system here. If you follow the system, you'll be able to rank up and continue to rank up and help your people do the same. So that's kind of what I wanted to share. My time is about up here. Are there any, let's see if there's anyone else I want to talk about in here. I think we talked about, no, I think I went through the people I wanted to talk about here. I just wanted to give you an illustration of people that I'm currently working with within my 3 legs here, because I like to kind of be real and open and, you know, kind of share real people here. So are there any questions? You can unmute yourself. Anybody have any questions about what we talked about tonight or shared? Anything at all? Any questions at all? If not, Ryan, I'm pretty much done. Thank you for your time, but that was pretty much what I wanted to share tonight.
And that was phenomenal, Al. Amazing job. Thank you to everybody who was willing to share along with Al tonight as well. And I love, Al, one thing in particular, a lot of great nuggets of wisdom tonight. And I love that you included Janice as an example of the follow-up doesn't stop just because someone joined our organization. And I love that you and Janice shared that, you know, it really illustrated that the follow-up continues even after people join. We need to stay tuned in, stay plugged in, make sure they are plugged in, and make sure that they're not feeling lost. And so you did such an incredible job. And now Janice is here and she's bringing incredible people into the community now. And it's because you did that follow-up even after she was part of the community, making sure she was having a great experience. And so what a fantastic job. The fortune is in the follow-up, and phenomenal, Al. Absolutely phenomenal. Thank you.